For note, AL currently in terms of game score are 7-7. After the loss is now 7-8. So 6 of those wins on blue side is pretty notable.
Something blue side OP. Something. Anyone's legend.
Well, AL are currently 2-3, so not OP enough.
Not OP enough, unfortunately, for the Pandas. They have banned out the Rakan away, as well as the Gwen, just taking stock of the fact that TheShy could try and run that as a potential counter matchup if there's a certain top lane they're trying to look for. Maybe Flandre's Rumble is the setup here going into pick 1. But things like the Aurora is such a powerful flex pick, especially for IG, since TheShy has been pretty much the prominent developer of Aurora top lane across the world.
Yeah, he was playing Aurora top before a lot of other people. I know that Flandre has dipped his toes, but it doesn't seem like it's a champion that really he excels at here. I like the Trundle ban. Probably means that Wei's going to have something like a Xin Zhao, like we had talked about earlier. And with Vi gone as well, a lot of the 80 bruisers aren't really in the pool right now. Poppy did make it through, and that is a champion that has a lot of priority, especially for a team like AL, or a team like IG. So looks like it's going to be the Aurora set up already. This gives Shanks some more playmaking tools, in my opinion.
Yeah. More than likely, as you called out, even though this has been a flex pick for certain teams, it seems like Shanks should be the one that is piloting this certain mage. This could open up way now to secure Xin Zhao, but because you already called out something like the Poppy, that is a great way to at least stop the Xin Zhao from getting those easy dashes in with the steadfast presence. And maybe that's enough for IG to reconsider what their jungle option or priority is going to be. Annie would at least set up for a stronger carry jungler, or at least a top laner or a side laner that wants to get a lot of setup guaranteed with that point and click stun. IG, what is the call? Jarvan this early? I don't know if I'm a fan, Alk. Because now look, anyone's Legendary is going to pick champions that can dash out of a Cataclysm.
Alistar. Give me Alistar on 3 here. Just give me Alistar and let's bag up game 2. Braum is fine. It helps block with the steadfast presence and stuff. So, with his unbreakable, I think it's fine. The 2v2 is obviously going to be a little bit stronger here for Hope and Kael. Maybe we get to see them work a little bit more. AL showing a lot of flexibility because we don't even know if this Aurora is going to be going into mid lane. It's a great matchup into the Annie, but if it opens up for a different play, we see this Rumble now coming on through. Flandre could take it if they see maybe a different angle through mid lane here, where IG, very easy here, Raafaa. Cataclysm, Equalizer, Summon Tibbers. Someone is dying.
The patent pending Hot Pot combo locked in for IG. But my point still stands. All of these champions from anyone's legend can dash out of a Cataclysm. Braum will rely on having a member to jump to, but I feel like this setup for IG was locked in so hastily without seeing the rest of the draft, because if anyone's legend are able to now get champions for both Flandre and Tarzan that can get out of this quote-unquote guarantee setup, I feel like IG are now putting themselves in a difficult position of not having the same amount of reliability of pulling off this combo. They have yet to lock in a bot lane for themselves, and that's where the focus is for anyone's legend when it comes to bans.
You could take Corki here. I think Corki is fine on 4. It has a lot of strong matchups, even if you already see the Lucian and the Braum, and means that you are giving Gala some tools to be able to fight early, as well as still have range later on into the game using those missiles. So that is something that I think AL could look at, but it seems like they're more focused on putting Meiko on less comfortable champions, which I think is a fair shout, considering he was the death leader from Split 1.
Renata taken off the table as well. This would have given IG some flexibility if they were the ones engaged upon, and hostile takeover is a nice way to break open the fight and stall it out. IG now, when it comes to supports, no Nautilus, no Rel, no Meiko, no Renata. As you called out, Alistar is still available as an option, but they are still yet to lock it in. They're going in with Senna for Gala.
This means that Meiko needs to be attached to him, and I am worried here, Raafaa, because yes, Senna should be able to farm by herself. In the early game, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Meiko to get out of lane, but IG are looking to just smash in the early game. They want to try to play on level 6. They want to play on their first 1 and 2 items so they can be aggressive up against their opponents. AL going for, I don't want to say it's a scaling strategy because you have Aurora and you have this Lucian early on, but they are going to be very, very tanky come 2-3 items.
Even though the Skarner doesn't easily get out of the Cataclysm once he's locked in, the Ishtal's impact at least will pin the Jarvan into the wall momentarily. Maybe it's a nice way to turn the fight around and look for a nice impale setup off the back end of it. But Mbessa, another champion that has a lot of mobility, very hard for the Jarvan to necessarily lock down, can also reposition with the public execution. And IG, considering their support option, they've hovered over a few, but as you called earlier, Alk, Alistar seems like the winning formula here for IG.
I think Alistar is actually extremely BIS here. Like, best in slot support you can get at this moment, if he plays it right. Remember when we were talking about Wink? In this game, as Alistar, he is not going to have too much say as to when AL actually start the fights, but he can stop members like Skarner or Mbessa from easily getting onto his backline by utilizing that headbutt. So I need to see Meiko in a really strong spot, making sure that he is providing protection for his Senna. Because otherwise, you have a Senna who's going to be healing a Jarvan, a Rumble, an Alistar. All of these champions love to get into the mix, and that additional healing and shielding from her kit should prove powerful.
The nice thing for IG's comp is a majority of these champions do spike on that first item. The Malignance for the Annie, the first Sundered Sky or Eclipse if Wei wants to be a little bit more aggressive for the Jarvan, and the Liandry's for this Rumble. Level 6 power spike's going to be super strong for this composition, but not to take away anything from anyone's legend. As you called out before, the Aurora and the Lucian will have enough of that early game agency to help Tarzan bridge into the later stages of the game, where he will be a super, super beefy Skarner. We'll see if anyone's Legends carries can give their overall team enough time to get to that later stages part of the game, or if IG will just try and run them over in that mid-game spike when a majority of these champions do come online. But here we go, y'all. IG on series point, leading 1-0, anyone's legend. Can they make the comeback, or is this an IG series to close out?
LPL moderators, I gotta ask, can we get a Twitch chat poll running? Because Kelsey is telling me that BIS is not a thing. People don't use it. People don't. So I want to ask the fans, do you know what BIS is? Let's start there. Like, best in slot, have you heard of it before? And if not, let us know in the chat, and then I'll have the moderators come on through.
Low key, before TFT, I have never heard BIS before.
Ah, you never played MMOs then.
Well, well, the thing is I played a little bit of World of Warcraft in like 5th grade, but I never got to the point in the game because I was always like making trial accounts because my parents never wanted to buy me like a full subscription. So every time I would like hit the 10-day trial, I would have to make a new email and make a new account and just try and speed run as much as I could. That was
honestly, that's kind of lit. That's good Raafaa lore. Okay, good to know. Well,
yeah.
As we get back into this game, some early trading here. I think this does favor Gala with how much chunk he's already gone onto Kael and Hope. But one jungler is going towards the bottom side of the map, and his name is Tarzan. So we'll see if he's actually able to make a splash early on. This is that Lucian Braum that we had saw earlier today, continuing to apply pressure early.
Yeah, just keeping Gala and Meiko at bay, not able to contest for the wave. Flandre and TheShy already getting a little dicey in the top lane, with Shun pathing towards the bottom. Flandre's going to have to be a little careful depending on how much extra damage he does take in these trades, whereas Wei, the fact that he is pathing towards this Rumble might be an option, but good instincts on Flandre. Getting the early push will now place a ward onto the Krug camp, so if Wei goes for the full clear, Flandre will have full information on IG's jungler.
Really good coverage. Wei actually skipping the red buff, so on complete vision while this is happening. And TheShy is trying to trade. Wait!
TheShy, does he have another Electro Harpoon? It's not going to be enough damage. Its flash is expended by both top laners.
And the wave is going to crash, so once Flandre teleports back in, Wei's going to be getting set up and looking for a dive. The bottom lane of AL is not even trying to rotate at this moment. So Flandre has to know jungler's on his side of the map. He needs to be very careful, and how he plays the next 45 seconds to a minute is going to dictate the early game for these teams.
Yeah, I imagine Flandre might just have to trade losing out on some of these minions just to preserve HP so he avoids the worst case scenario of that dive coming in, as Flandre already using the power of his W shield to trade aggressively into TheShy. But TheShy has yet to use his teleport, so he is willing to expend a majority of his HP since Wei will be covering him on this wave crash, and Flandre's already lost almost 50% of his HP. There's no flash, but it doesn't look like that Flandre, hang on, Wei is going to enact it. Goes, takes the turret aggro, goes for the EQ under the tower. The flash, but TheShy will take the last turret shot. And First Blood does go over to IG, and Flandre loses out on this minion wave, but he will get a kill back in return.
I still think this is a massive win here for IG. He's already up 10 CS. Flandre misses not only the last wave, but now he's also going to be missing a portion of this wave as well. The wave is going to push away from him eventually if you're on this one or the next, and TheShy gets to keep his teleport the entire time. That is a huge boon, and despite how it went, I think incredibly well played there by IG.
A lot of experience valuably missed there for Flandre. And as you called out, the fact that TheShy, yes, he dies, but he still goes up in overall CS and experience. And the nice thing is, TheShy didn't even use teleport. He still has a teleport for himself, so TheShy, if he wanted to, he could get super volatile, knowing that Tarzan, maybe clearing his top camps, is pathing back towards the bottom side of the map. He's willing to trade a lot of his HP, because if he gets too low, well, he's got a TP to reset his wave. Flandre doesn't have the same luxury.
You saw the pings as well. They know with some wards onto the bottom side jungle of IG, Wei's on this side of the map. Tarzan is spotted on his Raptor camp, so I like how Rookie is pathing up. I'm just getting ready for another dive here, because Flandre's nowhere near 6, and if he gets killed again, this lane is doomed.
Meanwhile, Hope and Kael trying to create some volatility in the bot side of the map. Heal is expended by Meiko. Takes a lot of damage on the exit away from the trade, but nothing to really give anyone's legend a huge window to either look for a dive to extend the advantage, or even enough for Tarzan to feel comfortable about looking for the first dragon of the game. And as you called it, here we go. Another dive being set up by Wei and TheShy.
Oh, ultimate available here for TheShy. Shanks trying to do something in mid, but that's all Flandre now.
Equalizer completely goes wide, but forces Flandre to go into both TheShy and Wei for easy damage and kills secure. IG having a massive crushing deficit on top of Flandre.
Flandre, ever since coming back from MSI, really felt as kind of the weak link for this team. Everybody else, even in finals, it felt like TheShy or Flandre did get kind of taken advantage of in some of those games. And now here, he's 2 deaths down. He's 20 CS under his opponent, and this is an Mbessa lane that it's not easy to play versus the Rumble, but with the attention that TheShy has gotten, this Mbessa is not really going to be that backline threat that we wanted to pressure players like Rookie and Gala.
And the repercussions are so massive because anyone's legend is now forced to send their bot lane to teleport to the top side of the map to pick up that wave, which then denies them time that they could have been trying to get a further advantage onto Gala and Meiko, which they haven't really found in reality. And TheShy finally gets to use his teleport advantage that he has held over Flandre over the past 6-7 minutes of the game, being able to continuously hold this advantage over Flandre's Mbessa.
I think that him saving the teleport after that first death onto Flandre was so intelligent, and like you just said, just makes it kind of compounds onto everything. It feels like the last 7 minutes feel very intentional from IG in their game plan. There is going to be grub spawning in 35 seconds. Wei is currently doing the dragon at this moment. So without any real push, it doesn't seem like Hope and Kael have got meaningful damage down onto Gala or Meiko. They'll be able to get this wave under the turret. We have not seen AL pressure any of these objectives. Tarzan started hitting the dragon, and then he backed off for some reason, maybe sensing that Wei was in the area, and that was right before the second dive onto Rumble.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Tarzan, the jungle senses were off. I just did not feel confident about looking for the dragon, even though his bot lane had one push against Gala and Meiko multiple times. Missed opportunity for anyone's legend to find an objective trade. With the dragon secured by IG, it is now Tarzan trying to run through mid, will not find a chance to really punish Rookie, and Wei is continuing to put Flandre under pressure. This gives anyone's legend a window to look for grubs.
Oh, let's farm up, buddy. Let's kill this guy.
Now Flandre does TP back to the wave. It looks like Wei is not going to pull the trigger on the dive since Flandre is full HP. They'll wait for that. This does guarantee that anyone's legend will get all 3 grubs for themselves here, but Flandre's already losing 50% of his HP. He just TP'd back. Oh my goodness, this is devastating. And Rookie, Wei went all the way towards the top side to look for the collapse flash.
They got him.
Flat onto Tarzan, and IG are just winning on both sides of the map.
That's why they didn't want to go for the dive. Wei made a beeline from the Krugs all the way up to help contest for grubs. It was still 2 of them going over to AL, so they'll get the feat of Epic Monster Slayer going towards them, or at least a single tick of it. And now they can reset. Wei should be able to be, he should be really close to a Sundered Sky. He's got 2 kills already. There it is. He picks it up on the way out of base. He has all of his topside camps, and Raafaa, this is exactly the early game that we needed to see from IG with this composition. Not only playing around TheShy, but now making sure that the other lanes are really comfortable. And AL have had 0 say on any of these epic monsters.
In a lot of IG's wins earlier on, this split in particular, this is the type of early game that Wei was able to really manufacture for this roster, and it has led into some of the most convincing wins that IG has had all season long, because like you said earlier, IG don't normally win early game. When they win games because they're able to really make strong team fight comebacks, and just off of the experience that a lot of these players have on this roster, are able to identify win conditions and scenarios where they can still come back despite being down thousands of gold. But when Wei is able to play with TheShy, enable him to have a massive advantage over top lane, and then choose decisively when to punish anyone's legend on certain objective takes, this is the type of early game that you can get out of this IG roster.
Really exciting. You look at the stats here for IG, 4th in the league for First Bloods, 4th for First Turret, 2nd and 1st for Dragon and Herald percentage. I'm really impressed. They look and are performing like a top 4 team in the league. Whereas AL, we're giving them so much benefit of the doubt that they'll eventually get it ready for playoffs. And for a lot of their stats, honestly, if you told me that this is a new team coming in, I would believe that they're like a 6th, 7th best team. 8th in First Blood, so the worst in Group Ascend. 7th in First Towers. I mean, it's tough when you look at AL's so far trajectory going on early in its split, and this game is not making it any easier for them to make a bounce back into this series.
Flandre has been suffering this game. Looks like TheShy should be close to completing his first item. Even took a pit stop with boots and a Dark Seal. Now has the Leandries completed alongside Wei with that Sundered Sky. These two are hitting the mid-game stride where they are some of the strongest champions in the game at this current point in time. Tarzan's going to be looking for a flank onto Rookie through the wall with the Ishtal's impact. Public execution from Flandre should set it up. Rookie still has a flash. Can he get away? Good Tibber stun, but the flash from Tarzan should commit forward, trying to exact all the damage from his burst spells before using the Impale at the very last possible second, and anyone's legend find themselves another kill on the board.
How much can Flandre get off of this? Because you'll get the wave and the top lane tier 1, or at least the plates that are going to be on it, but 35 seconds before the second dragon spawns, and Rookie has teleport here. So all this does is stabilize Flandre a little bit, considering he's trying to get away from this rumble, but I don't think it meaningfully changes a lot of this game. And now even TheShy is going to teleport to catch this wave.
Because in the end, it is still not Flandre that gets the kill. It is Tarzan, so doesn't help Flandre's particular laning woes and deficit that he has against TheShy's rumble at the moment. The next dragon is just about to spawn in the next couple of seconds. Majority of the members of IG are starting to set up here on the bottom side. Gala just taking a base, picking up his static Shiv. Should be able to help him try and fight back for wave priority against Hope's Lucian, who has completed his Essence Reaver as well. This is the part of the game where anyone's Legends carries are trying to at least combat against some of the spikes that IG have. But when you look at how accelerated this Rumble and this Jarvan are, Alk, I'm pretty terrified at trying to walk into a river and contesting them.
They need to wait for some of their abilities here. Rookie's about to get the summon Tibbers, and Flandre has teleport ready, but he does not have the public execution. He looks like he is going for that turret. AL, they group around the bottom side of the map. Looks like they're not going to end up contesting, and that's 2 plates going over to Flandre. So all in all, not that bad of a trade. It is still the first 2 dragons of the game, though, going to IG. And that right there is very problematic if we're talking about a team that has an Aurora in the early game. You have this Lucian Braum. We haven't seen them really interact.
Yeah, Tarzan has not been able to leverage any of the advantages from these 2 lanes to get himself a way to control the map state away from Waze Jarvan at this point in time. And when you look at how IG's composition, apart from the late game insurance of Gala Senna scaling further and further and beyond as the game goes on, this composition from IG really excels for the next few minutes. And then afterwards, the fall off is not detrimental, but it does become tougher to play into the champions that anyone's Legend will be boasting. But if they can accelerate the pace of the game, then it could just be curtains and an early 2-0 series for IG here as Tarzan leading the charge, looking for the Impale, but Meiko stuns him up and the Impale goes wide. Now Tarzan is caught overextended. TheShy with a beautiful equalizer will catch them all on top. Gets equalized here by Flandre as well as Shanks. Now they're just trying to fight this one out. Kael flashing over the other side of the wall. Hope is pushing Rookie and way out by himself. Flandre on the chase, finding Gala, and anyone's Legend still finding ways to win some of these team fights despite the early deficit.
Great team fighting there from them. It was a solid choke point, even if Tarzan misses. IG just don't have the damage yet. It's all about in that burst there between TheShy and Rookie with how fed they are right now. I like the positioning there from Gala, though. He's able to squeeze a few more autos onto Flandre. We got to see, I think, Meiko play the role of Alistar well in this fight. As we start here, Tarzan trying to find Gala. And there was a teleport early here from Shanks where that wasn't necessarily the case for Annie. Annie's going to show up late into this fight. The Dawning Shadow, I think, just adds so much to this team, and even the weirding from Shanks makes it difficult for IG to walk forward.
Yeah. Just the solo laners in general from anyone's Legend being able to zone Gala away made it so hard for them to follow up on the initial burst of spells. And this is where the advantage will come in for anyone's Legend later on as the game progresses, because, as we pointed out, this composition from IG is really much on blowing all of your ultimates at once and then remainder of the damage.
IG can move back here. There is a Herald on the table for them, and that would give them feats of strength if they could complete it. Have a lot of buttons up available. Dawning Shadow not quite there, and what I'm looking for here, Raafaa, is AL with no flash on Hope or for Flandre.
Can IG find a way to punish and capitalize on it? They've done a great job so far, at least when it comes to the laning phase, but we're about a minute and a half away from the next dragon. Rift Herald, meanwhile, is the objective at play for IG. They're all stacked on top of it at the moment, but a Scuttle Crab gives vision over to anyone's Legend. Kael getting rooted up by Gala Senna there. 6,000 HP on the Rift Herald, but it just might reset here as it exits the Patience range.
Uh-oh, Rookie. Woo! Nice dodge from the public execution. TheShy's in this no man's land where he wants to come back into the fight. He wants to go top lane and clear the wave. Wei is going to jungle privilege himself with red buff here to regen all of his HP that was done to him. You can see right now they're looking for this engage. Can they get Meiko potentially?
He headbutts him back into the team. The Impale now lands. A lot of circles happening. Massive damage from IG as they're trying to burst through the front line. But now IG are on the retreat. TheShy has teleported in and deals with Flandre, the equalizer, cutting Shanks off and the rest of his team. Good flash by Tarzan, dodging the EQ flag from Wei. Hope trying to run for his life as well as he dashes over the wall, picks up some health with the honey fruit, but anyone's legend. Only finding Rookie in the crossfire, but still losing overall ground for the Rift Herald.
I thought with how many abilities they threw into that corridor, someone else was going to die, and it's only Flandre. IG, they grab themselves the Herald, feats of strength, 2 games in a row. So let's check this again. Meiko headbutts Tarzan. The Impale actually misses here, by the way.
Oh my god.
And then look at all this damage right onto the backline. And this unbreakable from Kael blocking Gala's entrance as well. Flandre is doing his best work, but I think we might have to redefine what that looks like. Still, IG, they go 1 for 1, and they grab the objective.
Decent look from Meiko, knocking up only Kael, but not a real engage to play off of for the rest of the members of IG. They go back to their blue quadrant, farming up this blue buff. Dragon is live, but neither team has really taken strong advances in controlling and setting up at least the start of the Dragon.
You're going to move back in through this river. No flash for Rookie does limit some of their playmaking. So watching how they play around vision, seeing where Rookie is going to show himself, is very pivotal to whether or not IG are going to find a victory. That's the crash in mid. Come on, Senna, walk up. Come on. Atta girl. There you go.
With that, IG are able to secure the turret in the mid lane. That's going to give them so much control over the map, playing into the strengths of this overall composition. IG are the first ones back into the river, trying to see if they want to start up the Dragon, but they are hesitant, waiting for anyone's legend to make a move first that they can punish.
Dawning Shadow is up, back to mid. We are going to play this dance for a little bit here, Rafa. We're going to go back and forth between mid-wave. Gala having the static shift makes it easier for him to actually contest and push. And now, IG are going to walk forward, clear vision. I'm going to be honest, this actually is an advantage towards AL because all this time, IG are just dropping side lanes.
Oh, Meiko tried to go in for the headbutt pulverize, but he was interrupted by the Ishtal impact, so now he has to retreat. Public execution eliminates Rookie from the map. Tarzan now continuing the chase. Good Impale on the way. IG lose out in their mid lane and their jungle. Now TheShy tries to step up forward, but he gets eliminated right as fast. IG just lost 3 members for practically nothing on the side of anyone's legend.
Why are we engaging on Braum? This is incredibly confusing as AL not only find the fight that brings them back into this game, but then the objective on top as a cherry. This is all of our spells going into a Braum when there is still an Mbessa on a side of a fight. And this is an amazing kidnap here. A great dodge or an unbreakable from Kael, and just a great catch from Tarzan. But why? Look at what we're fighting. Look at all of the damage. I am so confused by IG, but it's a huge win for AL and exactly the kind of bounce back that they're going to need if they want any chance in this series.
They definitely needed it because IG, we were talking about before that at this mid-game point where it's just 1 item spikes, this is where a majority of IG's composition thrives. Gala will be late game insurance, but then when you look at the front line that anyone's legend will be boasting, you have to now cut through a Heartsteel stacking Skarner that is going to get bigger and bigger as the game progresses. And even though Jarvan will do decently well with his own item spikes, he's not a true front line like this Skarner will be. And more time given to anyone's legend to scale up and denying what could have been IG being on soul point with that 3rd Dragon of the game slows down the game even more heavily in favor of anyone's legend.
You couldn't see it, but I'm definitely side-eyeing you for bringing up the Heartsteel, man. He's got 93 stacks at 22 minutes. There's no way this item's going to be that impactful. I'm afraid.
It's 900 HP. That we're taking into account just the base HP value. That's my copium right there.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it. It's going to be a turret here for AL, and I wonder, you have Aurora, 2-item Lucian? You see the pings coming out. Shanks can teleport back in. This could turn into an Otacon. Barely spotting out way across that wall means maybe not so likely, but teleports mean that there could get a little bit more frisky here in mid lane.
Wanting to make sure that they are not giving up complete position and control around this Otacon on the top side of the map. IG moving as a 4-man, trying to lock down all the vision and the control wards that are spawning in the river, but it is equally being combated by anyone's legend in some of these other points. And so far, vision remains in favor of anyone's legend. And they're going to now start this Otacon up. IG are going to have to contest. Did they get in? I don't think they're getting in.
Oh, that might just be gone. Way, can you make the steal, buddy?
Oh, but
nope.
He EQs away. Yep, Otacon is secured for anyone's legend. And IG now trying to see if they can look for any stragglers. Good flash tipper stun on the Shanks, but he uses the Between Worlds beautifully to escape danger. IG don't get anything.
Can they chase out? And what else can they grab here as IG? They're going to look for another wave. Flandre, Hope, and Kael are going to look to defend. Shanks has no teleport anymore. Just walk through mid, clear this wave, and be happy with what you were able to grab. The Otacon gives them experience to get back into this game. Because you look across the lanes right now, it's about a level and a half here for Shanks in the advantage. Flandre is now only a half a level down on his opponent. So this is a feel-good part. And maybe that dragon fight is the moment that AL were able to turn this one. As so far, they have gone from strength to strength despite some early game woes.
A lot of the early games were just almost frustrating to watch, as AL were not able to really do anything to bail Flandre out of a bad situation, and it seemed like IG were ready to steamroll through a very clean and decisive early game, but he called it. Anyone's legend now back in the driver's seat. The gold advantage is not massive, but it is enough for them to feel like they can dictate the pace of the game going forward. With the next dragon spawning in the next 55 seconds, eyes are going to be on a lot of these carries now coming back onto the map with 2 items in their pockets.
I'm still looking at the fact that TheShy has 2 items right now. He is 60 CS up on his opponent and is only maybe up 700 gold. That's really good for Flandre, who has made a bounce back in this game after a horrendous early game. Getting dove twice, missing out on 20, 30 CS very early on as this Mbessa. And he's now, we had worries as to whether or not he was going to be a backline carry. I think he is providing more than enough threat onto Gala.
Just might be enough here for anyone's legend to continue controlling this game. And just look how the way they are positioned around the map. Hope is able to get this standing turret all by himself. IG are trying to send 3 members to control the mid wave so that they can find a way to brute force their way into the Baron. Because that becomes the trade now. Anyone's legend, are they going to be baited into thinking that they can just get this dragon for free? And I mean,
Lucian soloing it, hell yeah. They pushed them out. Look, they completely muscled them out of the mid wave. And now IG are just standing there twiddling their thumbs, recalling. We're having a good time. We're just ping-ponging waves. I do not care. It's a free win here for AL.
Yeah, this is really nice. And something I didn't even mention before, or I didn't see. There's a control ward in the Baron pit in favor of AL. So even if IG were trying to sneak it, there's no way that AL would not have known. So just really, really good map play coming out from AL in the second half of this game and continuing this momentum they've gotten ever since that 3rd dragon fight.
All right. So we get a little bit of time here. There's a Baron up, and AL do have a comfortable amount of damage here. If they want to be able to rip it. They have Shanks with a teleport. But I still don't know how I feel about this game right now, Raafaa, because Sana is eventually going to reach that in eventuality. This is almost 90 stacks at 27 minutes. And kind of as a pea shooter build at this point. I really don't like having RFC into a comp that is already going to try and dive into you. You don't have the most upfront damage as well. Like, you're not like a one-hit wonder with something like an opportunity. So for Gala and Meiko, what I need to see is just the ability to actually take over fights. And that might not even be now. That might have to wait until he finishes LDR. And at that point, AL are feeling very, very good about their spot in this game.
Yeah, you almost wonder. Please criticize me if I'm saying something
What's up?
incorrectly. But instead of rapid fire, I would have gone for straight up like a full-on damage item, just so
I mean,
that
you can go Infinity Edge, you can go
Yeah.
Black Cleaver. If you just want the HP, I think the HP is really valuable, and Ability Haste is never bad on Senna. Infinity Edge always there as well. Bloodthirster if you're really hankering for just pure AD. You have a lot of options on Senna, so I agree. I also hate RFC second. That's mostly because I think I'm just an RFC hater in general, but I get it's a feels good item, even if it doesn't usually work out.
The only times I see RFC being valuable is if you are just prioritizing sieging, so that you can get extra safe hits on turrets while trying to extend your standing gold lead. But IG don't have that, Alk. They lost that at the third dragon fight, and Anyone's Legend are now in the driver's seat. So now it's on to Gala to get some damage back into this build. With the LDR fully completed, at least he can help cut through this very, very beefy Skarner that has a decent amount of armor from the Unending Despair, but IG are really relying on a majority of the burst from TheShy, from Rookie, from Wei to do a lot of the heavy lifting, so that Gala, all he has to do is just finish off low health moments.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at this. Tarzan and Shanks are behind right now. Tarzan barely gets out of this one. Kael takes half of his HP, but hits level 11, and at the very least could have access to teleport thanks to the unsealed spellbook. This is a very cautious stance that both of these teams are playing right now. Baron's on the table, and if honestly nothing happens for the next minute and a half, Rafa, I have to imagine Dragon is where we're going to see the next real fight.
Kael caught basing in the face of IG. Now it's a 5-on-4 for the Invictus Gaming members, but Rookie caught out with the public execution. Flandre equalizes the numbers advantage. Massive impale from Tarzan as he secures 2. Wei sends it on to Hope, but as we called before, he could just easily dash out of the Cataclysm, and Flandre is still wrecking havoc into the backline. He goes way too deep into the turret, gives a freebie over to Gala and Meiko, but Wei is in trouble. Shanks trying to see if he can close the distance onto the jungle of IG. Will not be able to find the Jarvan, but Anyone's Legend, despite having their support picked off, still managing to equalize the fight.
Nothing else that AL can get off of this fight. It is just going to have to be good with taking all of the flashes outside of Meiko. Flandre really pushing Gala out of that fight, and you could see the damage really come true for Hope and Shanks. This game is so close here. Maybe I'm just superstitious. Maybe I've also just watched way too many IG games. I'm getting that movie magic coming on through for IG. Something about this game is feeling mysterious. We look at this fight. I mean, Rookie gets completely bursted out. The Dawning Shadow barely saves him from the public execution, killing him. But look at the rest of this. I mean, Tarzan and Hope just roasting this backline, but they are unable to really kill anybody outside of getting the flash afterwards from Shanks. And that's what worries me, is how long it takes for the members of IG to fall in some of these fights.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to jump on that movie magic ship with you for IG, but given the preposition that Anyone's Legend lost out on their support early on in the fight, maybe IG can miraculously find more miracle picks like that. And the fact that they are sneaking this dragon without Anyone's Legend really starting the Baron, trying to see if they can at least catch a straggler from IG and make the Baron even more guaranteed, just ensures that IG are just going to get this dragon for free. And now they find themselves at Soul Point.
They're going to see all of these pings going on to the Baron. Right now, it's going to be started. Shanks is the one that is going to push Wei out of the jungle here. Teleport from Flandre. He is in the pit now. Meiko can try to help. Wei needs to find the steal, and IG need to get back into this game.
Meiko trying to give him vision of the pit. There's a control ward in there. 2,000 HP. Wei goes in. Meiko is the one that steals it for IG. He's back, baby. And Invictus Gaming will find the first kill of the fight. Wei falls next, but the equalizer splitting up the fight and preventing Hope from getting meaningful damage. He has to open up with the culling. Goes in, picks up another 2, but TheShy has done great work, and Rookie steps up, forcing Hope away from the river. IG come up big with movie magic. It is cinema.
Hitchcock, Tarantino, And hell, let's just put Danny in there at the same time. IG, do it again. They get movie magic around the Baron. They're going to catch Hope at the very end of this. And that is an ace for 2 members. And Invictus with the Baron now control the map for the next 2 minutes.
I'm holding my hands up. I've got the
that's all you
Scorsese
can do,
meme
bro.
locked in. And I will never doubt you again, Alk, because my goodness, Meiko. What a fantastic steal set up by him and Wei to start this one off.
Okay, 21, 19, 18, 600. Fantastic stuff from them. Nothing else to say. Summoner Spellbook on supports. It's perfect. That's all I wanted to see. And then the rest of this fight, honestly, give Meiko the MVP for this game. Look at how he plays the back end of this. Flandre peeling him away. It's the only way Gala can die. And Meiko, every single fight, is protecting his AD carry. Yes, Danny. Yes.
Even the surprised look on his face, I think, is just him processing. Oh, snap. We might come back. Given the state that anyone's legend had taken the Otacon again, and we're ahead of gold, and it takes 2 fights for IG to find
Gala, no!
Gala, oh no! Gala gets picked off! This could be big for anyone's legend. TheShy has got no members around him, and just like that, the movie magic is starting to crash and burn. IG are going to have to scramble as AL will look for an opportunity to find any more stragglers here. 50 seconds on the Baron buff starting to run out. IG trying to find a safe place to recall. They have the Baron recall for a couple of their members, so they should be able to bail out. But Wei is the only person that doesn't have the Baron recall, so he doesn't have the same luxury. Kael popping the ghost off the unsealed spellbook just to lock him down, and this could just be a GA being expended out of Wei's Jarvan. Oh, Meiko saves his jungler with a well-timed headbutt as Tarzan looking for the impale, and Wei is saved.
Okay, maybe Kelsey Moser might experience some happiness today. There we go. Meiko's no longer washed. She did not like the last 2 splits that we were legally allowed to call this brother washed. And finally, he is showing up in these series. Meiko, man, just... I don't even know how to quantify this for fans who have not been watching consistently throughout 2025, but it was heartbreaking to watch a guy who made his name on EDG, was there for the longest time. I thought he was going to retire on this team, maybe become part ownership, ends up leaving the org last year to join Top Esports, has this legendary roster, but him and Jackie Love just weren't able to lift trophies, bring victories to the LPL. Now he finds another team that he joins. I thought this was going to, maybe be the end of his career, moving around teams, and he's no longer on EDG. Split 3, him and Gala have been working so fantastically and might bring a 2-0 versus AL.
Wei gets caught here, but goes into the stasis with the GA, has a second life, can look to re-engage, just uses the EQ to retreat. And IG, they can be thankful that their jungler will still be on the field for the next 40 seconds when the dragon spawns.
Everybody's got to reset, and it'll be IG first to push out all of these lanes. Mid-priority, move into bot lane, help TheShy push this wave out, and AL will still have to respond. Teleport comes out from Kael first. And this is so important. This would be soul for IG, which, in the grand scheme of things, I think getting that movement speed from the ultimate's not going to be as impactful. But think about the team fight afterwards. IG need to win this fight, and for AL... if they grab the dragon, all it does is keep them in the game. It doesn't quite end it.
Gold lead is almost neck and neck even, but IG have been able to find miracle after miracle in the past 10 minutes after AL took over control of the game post Otacon fight. Dragon now live. IG trying to fight for their entrance into the river as the rest of anyone's legend starting to lean towards the bottom side of this dragon pit. Neither team has at least touched the dragon. It is now leashed. Here we go, Alk.
Flandre is not spotted. There is no wards here. This is dangerous for IG, and Rookie is not really in a position to fight right now. There's the X-Public execution. Flandre, no!
Maybe early on to TheShy. He just flashes away between worlds from Shanks. Tries to catch out another member. Rookie is caught in the impale. They should be able to blink out the Annie super quickly as Shanks finds it, and Gala is under fire next. IG are compromised with their
Gala!
Flandre is taken out on the other side, but Gala is still able to find decent damage. Shanks will not fall, and Meiko's flawless death record will be tainted as he tries to give his life to save his AD carry. And just like that, IG, their moment has come to an end, and Anyone's Legend are starting to push into the base for a potential Game 2 victory.
Are they going to be able to do it? They have a lot of HP bars. They're trying to save the minion wave. It is only TheShy. Equalizer will be up in 20 seconds. Just like Meiko, they've got 2 grubs, and this might be the only chance AL can fight back and win this game.
13 seconds on Rookie, 13 on Meiko.
Equalizer.
Anyone's Legend are going to send it. TheShy will try to kill the minion wave and give as much time as possible, and it should be enough here. Anyone's Legend will not dare to push their luck. They take one Nexus turret. That's all they're going to get. But
there's
the
teleport.
Coming in. It's from Rookie. He's looking for a flank angle, and Anyone's Legend will be denied a chance to deny Soul Point away from IG. Teleport is coming in from Flandre as well, but Anyone's Legend are not healthy enough to contest. This should be Cloud Soul going over to IG.
They're going to try and chase them out. Meiko, you have to be so careful. He has Flash. He uses his ultimate now. IG is going to start to chase. It's a teleport
kills
from Shanks.
They said, screw the dragon. They want to kill the low health bar members of Tarzan. Impale comes out. He gets killed off anyway. Gala threatening them as Shanks forced to use the Between the Worlds and try to zone off his AD carry. Gala getting protected.
He's alive.
Good stun. Gala survives. And the rest of Anyone's Legend are now floundering at the heels of IG as they are now in hot pursuit. Hope on the other side of this wall. He's just going to die to Timbers. The Timbers almost is going to kill, but the Liege is burned. It ends the life of Hope. And IG will now catapult this momentum into a Baron take.
A rare mistake from Hope gets the kill onto him from the Tibbers burn with Malignance. And now the Baron, this could lead into the Dragon Soul. This could lead into IG pushing out these waves. God damn, you cannot deny that IG have the most entertaining games this entire season of LPL. Constant fighting, constant 1% plays going right for them, as it is Meiko forcing onto Tarzan. This Impale lands onto 2 members and takes away the protection from Gala. This was such a close fight. I love that Shanks is looking for this. He is invisible, but on the very edge of the summon Tibbers from Rookie, gets stunned and is unable to take down the marksman of IG.
And a clutch shield from Gala with the barrier as well to ensure that he is alive and survives the 1v1 momentarily against Shanks. IG now burst out the Cloud Soul, secure it for themselves. IG now at a very strong point of the game, and even though Anyone's Legend still scaling on some of these champions like the Skarner and the Mbessa, Gala has now eclipsed the point where he finally has enough damage. He has enough stacks to threaten Anyone's Legend at a very long range, and even has the additional safety of that Guardian's Angel in his inventory.
Tough game, tough game. We're now 40 minutes, Raafaa, 150 Senna stacks. So she's getting a hell of a lot of crit and a hell of a lot of range at this point. Got to be super close here between these two teams. A teleport comes in from TheShy. It's contest for red buff.
Starting the fight onto Kael. It's a knock-up, and Wei goes into the backline with the equalizer, but he's got a GA. They're trying to set up the hot pot combo. Kael gets knocked up again. That's the first one to fall. Shanks and Hope are put onto the backline. Shanks is bursted by Rookie, and Gala is untouched.
That's
he
it.
Just gets the free fire, eliminating one after another. Hope the final survivor, but not even the shining Hope will push Anyone's Legend over the edge. IG find the ace at 41 minutes. Are going to push in the base for a series win.
A 2-0 over AL. 4-2 in their series score. IG continue to prove that they're a top team in the LPL.
Invictus Gaming living up to the super team mantle. It took all season, Alk, but we are finally seeing this team rise to that mantle.
Oh my god. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'll be honest, guys. Coming into this split, I thought IG were going to be the same old men that we got from them in the last 2 splits. They are proving me wrong, and I am happy to say that is the case. IG look incredible here in split 3, and maybe just taking advantage of an AL that is kind of weak.
Anyone's Legend have a lot of things to figure out, man. I mean, there was moments where we saw that in the parts where it was good for AL, that is the type of gameplay we expect out of the Split 2 playoffs performance from the Pandas, right? It is creative, intelligent map decision making, team fight creative, coordinated angles, ways that they are able to come back in a game even with a deficit. But then you just look at some of these weird, polarizing moments where they are contesting objectives and indecisive about whether to commit, whether to go forward, whether to go backward as a unit. Anyone's Legend at their best is when they are finding those complex coordinated angles and committing. And this split, they have just not been doing so all the time.
And that's 2 series now that they've lost in a row. Obviously, Top Esports yesterday, IG today. They'll end their week with an FPX series, which we hope is not competitive, at least for their sake. And a lot of needs to come into question here. I don't think that AL get the grace that they had, because we're no longer in Split 2. We're no longer in playoffs. They don't have 13 games that they've already won at this point. This is an AL that is coming in that, barring something magically terrible going on, probably finishes 4th coming in at best, unless one of the other... You're praying for other teams to collapse, and that's just never realistic. You should always try to control your own destiny. It's no longer in their control whether or not BLG or Top Esports are going to finish top 2.
Yeah, because even though Top Esports dropped their only series loss to BLG, the current form that Top Esports are in, overall, is still dominant enough that we expect them to finish top 2 in the league.
Yeah.
IG is now pushing into the echelons of guaranteed top 3 at this point. There have been a couple series where the FPX won, tragic for IG fans around the world, but overall, IG are still proving to be in some of the best forms that we have seen from these individuals all year long. And the question still remains if Jeja is ever coming back for this IG roster, because yes, Wei is not looking clean 100% of the time. He's not, there's some weird moments. The game 1 Pantheon, the Baron fumble, but it's okay because when Wei is able to construct an early game plan and follow it through and execute, it does help IG immensely.
Whatever Wei is doing, whether that is missing smites on Barons or getting sandwiches for the boys, keep him on. Keep him on payroll. That guy needs to keep doing whatever he's doing, because they are looking better than whatever was happening with JJ. Even if we might simply think that that JJ has a higher mechanical ceiling, whatever is going on in the vibes or the chemistry for the team, keep it like this. We do not want to disturb this, please, for IG fans. I know a couple of the fans back on Twitter were a little bit mad that I was calling this team a super team, mostly because they were trying to avoid the superstition. But this is the IG we were promised at the very beginning of the year. This is the IG that's supposed to save the LPL and bring glory to the region and, bring the fans back, honestly. You don't do that by having boring games.
Yep.
I am so glad we have a team like IG, because I know even if they lose, I'm gonna have fun.
You literally have 2 former world champions returning to the org that they got those world titles on, and it was the first ever world championship awarded to the LPL in League of Legends esports history. TheShy and Rookie have been the 2 biggest names on this roster, with a lot of expectations to really bear on their shoulders. And over time, they are slowly earning that respect necessary to really live up to the mantle that has been given to them. Now, I know that most of us on the broadcast are still a little shaky on Rookie because he's had some great games and he's had some not so great games. TheShy, though, I think the early game that he and Wei were able to set up was very intelligent. Obviously, it didn't give them the mid-game advantage that they needed to really stranglehold anyone's legend and just make this a clean Game 2 victory, it had to come from Meiko, who you beautifully called out, Alk, has finally awoken and returned seemingly to form for Split 3, because in Split 1 and Split 2, we were ready to question if we needed a new support for IG, just from a lot of the underperformances.
I mean, we needed a new bot lane for these boys. New pair of wheels for them too, because Gala and Meiko did not work well early on into this split. Maybe they're just proving that the only real tournament is Worlds, you know? I mean, all of the formats internationally have shown that that's just true, even though MSI has a better competitive format. But as we've learned from the fans, the only competition that matters is Worlds. Domestic, who cares? Like, we don't even care about them. We're here to watch Worlds and watch which year is going to be the year that Team 1 wins it. Turns out it's every year. Yay!
It goes to show that the Worlds is the only thing that matters, kind of quota or bias. When you look at T1's run to Worlds last year, they were struggling. They came into Worlds as 4th seed, barely making it, and just plot armor buff their way into another.
That felt like the world correcting itself for DRX doing it, because that's also a 4th seed making it through.
Yeah,
so they were like,
true.
T1 was like, that was supposed to be us, but okay, whatever, you can have it. You know, you guys beat us. We'll take it later on. Yeah, I'm really, really excited for this IG team. Now they're going to move up to 3-2, as we saw. Or sorry, 4-2, as you see. That also means that they're still in 3rd, unfortunately. But I'm so happy that this is the IG we get. And that means at the end of our season, we might have this big soup coming in. Because BLG, Top Esports, and IG, as you see on your screens right now, thanks to our standings, top 3. There are 4 slots for an automatic buy into playoffs. And then if we cast our mind a little bit further, there are 4 seeds ready for Worlds. So, Weibo, AL, I don't want to say JDG because those guys hurt me in a lot of ways. There's Meiko with an MVP.
We didn't say it before, but I was hoping. I was hoping for a Meiko MVP.
He earned it, bro. He earned it. I called it in the game. I was like, this guy earned himself an MVP with the smites. And the way that he played Alistar, just exactly what I wanted to see. That is the Alistar I wanted to see in Game 2 of the BLG draft. I was like, okay, just peel. That's all you have to do.
I think it's very poetic that our producer on the show for tonight, Kelsey Moser, has said time and time again that even when Meiko was underperforming in previous splits, she was just like, please just give Meiko Alistar, man. He will at least be able to do something useful this game. And we fast forward in Split 3, Meiko has his best performance of the year, a memorable one with the Baron Steal and multiple saves of well-timed headbutts. Not only it's an MVP performance for Kelsey Moser's favorite player, but it's also one that guarantees that the series ends early. No 3 games! Kelsey gets to go to bed early with a 2-0. Meiko really giving the world to Kelsey and payback for all of her fandom over the years. This is quite the day for Kelsey Moser. As, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our show tonight. 2 exciting series. JDG and BLG earlier today, 2-1 victory for BLG, and then a 2-0 sweep over AL. Before we close out, we want to remind everyone and to give a huge shout out to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup, Mug, Force Without, and owner of Cimmeril. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. Before we close out, Alk, any last parting words for the fans?
Meiko Alistar Bis, maybe Wink Alistar Whis. We'll continue to add to the lexicon here. Worst slot. And I hope everyone has a great day. We have more LPL action coming up tomorrow. If you didn't check, we do have LNG versus LGD, and yet again another TT versus NIP game. So it is a full group Nirvana day for the next little bit.
Nirvana enjoyers rejoice. We get quite the hefty battles as all those teams are trying to scramble and find places in seeds 2nd through 4th so that they have a chance to try and qualify their way into playoffs as a last-ditch effort. Every series counts or Group Nirvana. But again, thank you everyone to supporting the broadcast, and thank you for tuning into the show. We'll see you all same time tomorrow here on LPL English.